Hello everyone, welcome to my channel. I hope you guys are doing fantastic. Today is an episode of Things You Don't Want to Know, but I'll tell you anyways episode. Sorry if I feel like low energy. Today is my first day off. Well, it's not my first day off, but this marks my first week of my doing my full-time job. My body doesn't understand what's going on. It's like, what are we doing? What is this new schedule? What's going on? I don't understand. My body's taking a minute to get used to this new lifestyle that I'm leading as a full-time worker. I'm just kind of like doing a chill video today. We're just gonna do a really simple talkin vloggin. A couple weeks ago, Richard, who's been a long time subscriber, left one comment that asked, "Buddy?" with a question mark. And that comment made me realize that I have not talked about Buddy or updated you guys on Buddy for a while. For those of you guys who have been watching me since my daily vlogs back in 2020, he was a really big center focus on a lot of my videos. For those of you guys who have been watching me since my daily videos, I thought I would take this opportunity to update you guys on what's going on with Buddy, because I know if Richard is thinking about it, I'm sure there's a few of you out there who are wondering as well. For those of you guys who are new to the channel, I have a dog that I had to leave behind in the States when I moved back to Okinawa from California back in January of 2020. So originally the plan was Matt was going to fly back in March of 2020 to go pick up the dog. But as we know what happened to the world in March of 2020, everything shut down. Pandemic struck. Matt actually had tickets to go, and the airline company emailed him like a week or two before his flight saying that they canceled his flight. They weren't going to fly him out, and he couldn't go back to the States. That's the backstory on this video. Now here is a warning. I may cry in this video. Buddy is kind of a trigger word for me. I can't say his name, I can't see a picture of him without wanting to cry, because not having him here has left a huge hole in my heart, and it's not easy for me to talk about him. So the newest news was that I was planning on sending Matt back to the States in June, because I'm like, well, America's starting to get vaccinated, Japan's not going to be vaccinated for a while, so I was like, you know what, I'll send Matt back to the States, get him vaccinated, see his family, because his cousin's having a baby soon. I want him to see his grandparents, his parents, because it's been over a year and a half, and I was like, you know, it's about time. And then maybe he could go back and get Buddy prepped again. In order to bring your dog here to Japan, because Japan is a rabies-free country, dogs have to get vaccinated and tested for rabies antibodies. That process takes 6 months. First you get the test, and then from the time you take the test, your dog is kind of essentially in quarantine for 6 months. Like, basically quarantine means he can't leave his area for 6 months. He has to stay there and then get approved to fly. So what I was gonna do was, since it's been a year and a half since we've done the test and everything, his test pretty much expired, so we have to redo everything. So I was gonna send Matt back in June to get vaccinated, see his family, and then get Buddy prepped again, get him tested and everything, so that Matt could go back to the States in the wintertime to visit his family, do all of that, and then pick up the dog and bring him here in the winter. So go back in the summer, get him all ready, go back in the winter, bring him here. And that was the plan. And I was like really excited for that because I was like, yes, finally something to get Buddy here. But the more I researched on how to get Matt out of the country and all of that, it became very much aware to me that that was probably not a good idea, especially right now, flying him out. According to the travel websites and guidelines in Japan, it is not guaranteed that they'll let you back into the country, even if you have a visa. So traveling is still hard to do. And if he was to go, Matt would have to get PCR tested, which is the COVID test. He would have to take the COVID test before he leaves Japan to go to the States, and then once he leaves the States to come back here, he would have to take the test in the States. So he would have to take 2 tests, which isn't a problem. I mean, it's kind of a pain, literally, because they shove that stick up your nose. But Japan, in order to take a PCR test, it's like $200 to $300 just to take the test. So $200 to $300 just to take the test, get his tickets, any expense that is going to cost us for him to be in the States. And then when he comes back, he has to quarantine in mainland Japan for 14 days before he's even allowed to come back to Okinawa. And that would add on hotel fees on top of everything. Unfortunately, Matt and I don't have that kind of money just laying around right now. As most of you guys know who have been watching us for a while, we've been struggling with our finances this last year or so, ever since we got here to Japan. It's gotten better because Matt now is making a good amount through his YouTube channel. Not his Muteki mat, but his How Success is Made is making him some decent money. Not a lot, but enough that we're doing all right. And now that I have a full-time job, like, things are looking good for us financially. So we're gonna be okay, but right now it's just not feasible for us to throw down that kind of money. We talked about it some more and we were like, okay, maybe what we can do is have Matt's parents, who has Buddy right now, help us get him all the shots and get him prepped for the flight instead of Matt going back in June, and then send Matt back in the winter time once Matt and I have some savings and all of that. And by then, hopefully, Japan will also roll out the vaccines, because that's another issue. Japan hasn't rolled out vaccines yet. Everybody else in the world is getting vaccinated, and Japan is still dragging their feet. Originally, they were saying that we were going to start getting vaccinated in April. Now they're pushing it back to June. I know they're still thinking about doing the Tokyo Olympics, and I'm like, I don't know what kind of delusional universe these people are at, but there's no way the Olympics are happening. I know Japan spent a lot of money on it, but like, it ain't happening. I'm sorry. No one's going to come here if your citizens aren't even vaccinated. That's not even here or there. That's a whole topic that we don't have to get into. It makes me so mad though. Oh my god, it's so stupid. And the shitty part is, like, I'm not gonna talk about it and then I'm gonna talk about it. But I gotta get this out. The shitty part is my friends are all vaccinated because they work for the US military, because the military already rolled out the vaccines. But us locals, we're not vaccinated yet. None of us are vaccinated. I don't even see a vaccination in sight. Even the June timeline is like up in the air. We don't even know if that's happening. So it's great. We're doing great. I'm actually really disappointed in how Japan has been handling COVID. Japan's very lucky that they have really good citizens, you know, who are very conscious of other people. Most of the people, not everybody, I'm not going to say everybody, but most people wear masks. Most people sanitize their hands. The citizens are good. And it's not like the government was like, you have to wear masks. No, people do it on their own. The citizens of Japan are fantastic, but the government's like handling this like shit. Okay, sorry. We'll move on from that. It's already difficult enough to bring a dog from a different country to Japan because Japan is rabies free. It takes a lot of effort and money to bring a dog here because you have to pay for tests, you have to do all this stuff before Japan even allows an animal to come into the country. And then it makes it more complicated when you add a pandemic on top of that. But even without the pandemic, to be honest, like, financially, Matt and I wouldn't have been able to make that happen for Buddy anyways, to bring him here. A difficult situation made worse by another difficult situation. It was just a perfect storm. Buddy means everything to me. I don't know if I have loved anything this much in my life. Sorry, Matt. But I love that dog. Like a week ago, I was sleeping in bed and I was in that weird state of sleep where I'm like asleep, but I feel conscious at the same time. And I heard a collar shake, like Buddy's collar shake. And for a moment, I was like, oh, Buddy's here. For a split second, like, I felt him. I thought like we had blown past all of everything that's going on right now, and like we finally got to a point where we brought him here. Like, I had woken up from this bad dream of not having him here, and he was finally here. Then I really woke up and I remember that Buddy's not even here and he's in the States. But even with all of that, there's also a big worry for me is that Buddy is not a spring chicken. He's not young. He's 12 years old now, and he's still really like energetic. Like he runs in the backyard. He's not showing any signs of being an old dog. He's very, very young. Like, he hasn't slowed down at all. So for a 12-year-old dog, he's like really, really healthy. My in-laws, who's watching Buddy, even took him to the vet, and they were like really surprised at how young he acted for the age that he is. So he's a really healthy dog. But the idea of him being 12 years old, basically a senior dog at this point, and the idea of flying him here really scares me. If Buddy was like 5 or 6 years old, I wouldn't worry that much. I mean, not as much knowing that he's 12 years old. A flight from the States to Japan is like a 14-hour flight, and that's hard enough on humans who understand the situation. But putting a dog on a flight for 14 hours who doesn't understand what's going on, that kind of makes me nervous. It's not like Buddy can be with Matt in like the plane. You know, like, he's gonna be in the cargo hold where they put animals. And that makes me nervous. I mean, I know it happens all the time. I live in and around the military. I've had multiple friends. In fact, my cousin who moved here last year also brought his dog here. Because if you're associated with the military and stuff, the military would have flown your dog out here. So I know, like, flying dogs is very normal. I've seen multiple people in my life living in Japan like do it like through the military and stuff, and they're always fine. But it still makes me nervous. At this point, Matt's parents have been watching Buddy for a year and a half now, and you know, they're falling in love with him. They love him. There's a part of me that is like, would it be just more humane to leave Buddy in the States with my in-laws who have fallen in love with him, and then like Buddy is, you know, in a routine and he's happy? Like, would it be more humane to just leave him there rather than putting him through all of this to bring him here just because we want him here? Like, what would be more beneficial for the dog? So there's that too that I'm thinking about. If I had known that it would take this long to get Buddy here, I wouldn't have moved to Japan. I would have stayed in the States. Like, I didn't want to live in America anymore. I wanted to move back home to Okinawa. But if I had known it was gonna be like this, trying to bring my dog here, I wouldn't have left. I would have stayed. I didn't know the world was going to shut down when I left the States in January. Once the pandemic hit, I didn't realize how long, like most of you guys, I didn't realize it was going to last this long. If I had known that, I would have stayed. I don't have a lot of regrets in life, but this is definitely a huge, this is definitely at the top of my regret list. Money isn't even like, I mean, it is an issue, but it's not. You know, like, the issue is I don't have the money. But if I had the money, I would put down $100,000. I would put down $1 million if it meant my Buddy would be here. I'm willing to throw down that amount of money to get my dog here. That dog is not just a dog. That's my guy. He's like one of my best friends. I love that dog so much. I don't know what's gonna happen. I guess we'll get him ready, fly ready. Ask my in-laws to do that for us. We'll send them the money to get for all the testing and stuff, because that also costs a pretty penny. And then see how everything plays out. I'd like Matt to go back in December, visit his family anyways. And if we could get Buddy ready by then, maybe we could bring Buddy here to Japan finally and be reunited. Now that I have a full-time job, I'll be able to put a lot of money away to prepare for that. Any cost that, you know, bringing him here will accrue. And by then, Japan should also be vaccinated as well. So hopefully the borders will loosen up their restrictions. So that's where we're at. I feel like it really hasn't changed that much since the last time I've updated you guys on what's going on, because everything is just kind of up in the air. We just have a new plan and we're going to take action on it, but that's the extent of what's going on with that. It would be wonderful to have him here and like be a family. For me, definitely, but even for Matt, there's definitely like a hole in our family without Buddy here. Like there's definitely a piece missing in our family. We don't feel complete. We don't feel like a full unit, and it sucks so much. Any mention of Buddy is a very, very sensitive topic for both, not just myself, but for Matt too, because I know Matt misses Buddy just as much as I do. It's amazing to me how much those little fluffy balls of pure soul just bring so much joy and so much like fulfillment and so much just love into our lives. They're just amazing little creatures, and I don't know what I would do without my dog. Well, I've had to live without my dog for a year and a half, and I haven't done very well. Okay, well that's it. I just wanted to update you guys on what's going on with Bud. At this point, we're just gonna see how everything plays out. Thank you for letting me update you guys on my dog situation. I love you guys so much, and I will see you in the next video. Peace. Bye. Boop.